Hey everyone, Xbox Game Pass is getting an upgrade. We've listened to your feedback, and now you have even more freedom to choose how you play the games you want.
But from all accounts,
Xbox Game Pass Core is now Xbox Game Pass Essential. Xbox Game Pass Standard is now Xbox Game Pass Premium. And Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is still Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
The flapping flotsam, what's that?
Because this is how we play now.
Good God! I've been saying it. I've been saying it for 10 damn years. Ain't I been saying it, Miguel? Huh?
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I have been waiting for this day for a long time. Nobody wanted to listen to me. Nobody cared to listen to me. And probably still people don't want to listen to me. But I'm going to talk about this because it's been on my mind for years. I've been trying to tell people this, and yet... Okay, so if you haven't already guessed, and everyone's talking about it, and everyone's acting like this is the death of Xbox, basically, Xbox has raised their Xbox Game Pass prices to $30 a month. Now, this is, from what I could tell, Ultimate package is $30. That's basically almost $360 a year. And they say like you get over 500 games and whatnot, but I already knew Microsoft would do this. Now, before I even talk about any of that stuff about Game Pass itself, because that thing is a joke, I wonder if this has to is connected to the purchase of EA, because they that was just in the news just recently. They bought EA, Saudi Arabia and all that stuff had just bought EA, and I wonder if this may have something to do with it, or if not, it's just massive coincidence probably. But I wonder if that kind of ties into all that somehow, and how they kind of have to now, because I know like with the Ultimate, EA's with it. Like you get Ubisoft Plus, you get EA Plus, or EA Origin, or whatever they have, whatever that EA Play thing. Well, I don't know, fucking know. I wonder if that is all connected to it somehow. Man, I'm still kind of feeling a little sick still. My throat's a little messed up. But anyways, but yeah, I kind of knew this was gonna happen. I knew this was gonna happen. They were not gonna stay at whatever price point. I think it was like $20. I knew that was not gonna last because that was way too cheap. Way too cheap. I just knew that was not gonna last. Microsoft has always been about greed, and they always wanted to do that. I've been saying this for years. Digital games is a joke. Digital games is I hate it. I've always hated it. I've always hated it. I don't care what anybody says. I've always hated it. I think it's such a problem because it's just like, you know, people want freedoms when they play their games, and yet you're having these companies, these corporations basically telling you what you can play, when you can play them, how you can play them, and everything like that. And what's the price, then the price points they want you to pay for them. I've always hated that. I've always hated digital games. And with streaming, the way they're doing it now, or the way they want to do it with Xbox Game Pass, you know, kind of like the Netflix for gaming. This PlayStation has something like that. Nintendo has something like that. I hate that they want to do that. That's the future they want. I cannot stress this enough. People don't want to see it. I don't care if you don't want to see it. I can see into the future. I think a lot of people can. That's what they want. They want a subscription-based services for all their freaking games. There was a long time ago, and that failed. A long time ago, they tried to do this in the market. It was called like On Live or something like that. And that's what the whole basics, that was the whole premise of that, was that they wanted to do an online subscription services to play games. And Google did something like that just recently with Google Stadia. And yeah, the whole premise is just basically pay for stuff that you won't own. You'll own nothing and be happy, basically. Golly, this is I hate gaming. I hate gaming now more than anything. But I've been saying, I have been saying this, and I'm repeating myself because I have to. I have been saying this for years, since back in the early Xbox 360 days, when they started doing all that DLC crap, online passes and DLC and all that shit, right? And they don't want you to pay, play for free. They don't want you to play the multiplayer for free or anything like that. They need you to constantly pay for the shit all the time, and that's what they want. the only thing that which digital games have been a good thing for was for indie games, to get the market out there and have people notice these things. Because quite frankly, I think a lot of people in the indie market probably realizing that corporate greed is becoming a detriment to game making, and so that's why they're doing the whole indie scene. But now, because they see the success of that, these companies are just like, they see the market value for that stuff. And you know, it's funny, I was watching a video about Microsoft, and I you know, and that's the thing, I always knew Microsoft, again, I always knew it was going to be Microsoft. That company was going to do something like this. I've always knew it. So I'm surprised that, I'm just shocked that nobody's surprised by this whole price hike. Like, I'm just surprised that nobody's going like, oh, okay, I kind of figured. They're all like shocked and then acting like Xbox is doom or something. I don't know. But it's just like, what do you expect? It's Microsoft. But yeah, like, you know, but going back to what I was going to say earlier, I was watching this, going back to what I said earlier, I was watching this thing about how, like, it was like the format wars, Microsoft versus Sony, and that format wars and stuff like that. They were talking about how Sony was headstrong on actually beating, and this is important. I know this is a long story, but this is important. But Sony was like headstrong on trying to win this market again for Blu-ray, because they lost it with Betamax, and I cannot stress this enough. This is important. So they were competing against Microsoft, but Microsoft was like, didn't care. They were still using a DVD format, and I think they had something with Toshiba was also like doing something there. Basically the whole point of the story is that Microsoft was not worried about the format wars, right? And the reason why is because long ago they saw dollar signs with the online market. They knew immediately that the online market would be the way to make just a buttload of cash and then cut out the middleman. They saw that. That's why they did not care about, dealing with like dealing with their own Blu-ray kind of style disc thing, because these people probably had thought about the online subscription-based service long ago, probably when they first rolled out Netflix back on Xbox 360, if anybody remembers that, back in like 2008. They saw it long before anybody else, right? And so now they hooked you in with the Xbox Game Pass. They hooked you in with all the games for nice little package, and then boom, shoot up the price. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. That's what they have been doing. That's what they've been doing a lot lately with all these other subscription-based services. So it's just like, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked at all. I still wonder if maybe EA, the purchase of EA, has something to do with it, because this came like right after that. So I wonder if maybe there's something connected to there. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's what I've been saying for years. Don't buy into this. Don't fucking buy in this, because it's just gonna get worse. It's never gonna be good for you. I mean, does anybody remember Netflix? Huh? I remember Netflix when you bought the base for like $6.99 or $9.99 or how much it was a long time ago. There was no commercials. There was no trailers for anything. There was no commercials for anything. Now, if you buy the base version, it comes with commercials. Well, why? What's the point? This isn't being me saying like I'm an old-timey guy who misses out on the old stuff. I prefer, oh yeah, that's the point of this. The point, like another point of the conversation, there's another talking point I want to point out, because this is not an old-timey thing. I do miss things like going to Blockbuster or going out to like a Hollywood Video or movie gallery, or anybody remember those things, because I don't really, when I pay for a subscription-based service such as like maybe Hulu or Netflix or even or the Xbox Game Pass, there's really nothing there for me to, and there's not enough there to me enjoy. Like, there's only like a handful of titles, and I feel like it would be cheaper for me to buy the game in the time frame in which I could play the game, play that one game, and be done with it, right? I paid for it. I remember paying for an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and I looked at all the games and like, the time frame in which I have to play this stuff, I won't be able to get to everything. What if I like play one game and I enjoy the hell out of it, right? I play this one game and I play it for the 3 months the entire time I have Ultimate, and I spent like what, like $20 on it, right, for 3 months, or however much, or maybe it was like a month. I don't remember. I bought a long time ago. But, I wouldn't have the time frame to play all these other games when I could pay for exactly the same price, maybe even cheaper for the one game I was gonna play, and forget about everything else. That's like, I'm just thinking like the whole market of the idea of Game Pass is all right, but it's just executed poorly in my opinion. But that's how they want to go. That's how they want to go. They want to go that route. Subscription-based service for all the games. You don't own it. You'll never own it. That's it. That's why I said, like, I miss going to Blockbuster, or miss going to someplace and just going to get what I want, buying it, taking it home, and taking it back. Or buy a physical game. You buy a physical game, that's probably the only one you're going to play for like the next 3 to 4 months, and then you play the next game 3 to 4 months. At least that's how I do things. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah. Look, I'm not surprised. I don't know why everybody else is surprised either. I don't know why everyone is just shocked that that Microsoft suddenly went up on their prices for Xbox Game Pass. Like, really? You're freaking out about it? Like, oh my goodness, this is wild. This is so wild to me to see people posting stuff. That's why I want to make this video, because I saw so many people posting stuff, and I'm like, really? I mean, they were talking about this shit long ago. They're talking about this stuff about how they want to, you know, people to go on Game Pass and whatnot. And you don't think they were gonna up the price? Jesus, especially of all people, Microsoft. Like, seriously. Like, I don't know. You have all those diehard fans that like it, and that's probably, you know, they'll probably keep it alive and somehow. That's probably why they even did it in the first place. Also, maybe that's another reason why they did it, for the diehard fans. They'll just pay money for Xbox no matter what. So now they have to pay for the people that don't play Xbox, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I just wanted to come on here and rant. We can talk about the situation. I'm not surprised that it happened. This is why I'm saying digital is bad. It is bad. I don't want a corporation to tell me what I can play, when I can play it, how I can play it, how much I have to pay for it, when I have to pay for it. I don't know why people are so just walking over the cliff and accepting this stuff. You know, they talk about freedom and all that stuff, but yet corporations, boom, 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 off the cliff, and accepting what they do. Anyways, guys, that's it for my small little rant. I want to talk about that because I'm flabbergasted that people are just surprised by this. That's it. Anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. I'll see you all in the next one, and you all take care.